Over the past few years, the NBA has had more parity than ever. Part of that is the recent influx of young talent we've had enter the league of late. Many of these players are able to contribute right away and quickly turn around the fortunes of the teams who drafted them. This is the final part of my series where I assess some of the young talent and rank the 5 best players at each position that will be under 25 years old when the next season begins. This installment is the Bigs, a group that has displayed some incredible skills on both ends of the floor and provide highlights on a night to night basis. Like the other positions, we had plenty of talented honorable mention candidates. Derek Lively as a rookie was a massive factor around the rim for the Mavericks on their NBA Finals run. The energy Lively played with was contagious, and it wouldn't be stunning if he has some untapped offensive potential. Jabari Smith spent stretches playing at center for the Rockets this past season and showed improved shooting while displaying some intriguing defensive flashes. He could be a candidate to move up next year. Trace Jackson Davis as a rookie looked like a great fit in the Warriors system and should have an expanded role in year two. Though limited to just 20 games, Mark Williams was incredibly efficient around the rim and should return from injury as a core player for the Hornets. Then there's Jalen Duren, who was a rebounding machine for the Pistons. He's also an underrated passer. Though still just 20 years old, his defense has room to improve. With all that being said, let's get to the list. Checking in at number 5 is Alperen Şengün. The 22-year-old broke out in his third NBA season, averaging 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. He's able to score in a variety of ways, whether it's out of the post or rolling hard to the basket, and he also shot over 50% from 10 to 16 feet. Despite that, Şengün's most impressive skills is passing. This skill allows him to be an offensive hub for the Rockets, where he can create offense in a variety of ways and showcases his creativity to find teammates all over the floor. So with that skill set, how is Şengün only fifth on this list? Offensively, he still has room to grow as a shooter from both the free throw line and from three, though his defense is the biggest question mark as he can struggle when asked to defend pick and roll, though Şengün does play hard on that end, and at 22 still has room to improve. The Rockets showed last season they're a team on the rise, and don't be stunned if Şengün emerges as an all-star as soon as next year. At number 4 we have Evan Mobley. After finishing top 3 in Defensive Player of the Year voting in his second season, some felt Mobley was going to take a massive leap this past year. That didn't quite happen, but Mobley's still extremely valuable. Offensively, the 23-year-old is a savvy cutter and displays nice touch around the rim on jump hooks. He also displays impressive instincts as a passer, which, for better or worse, can lead to him being selfless on the offensive end. Mobley has all the tools you'd want a defensive anchor for this era of basketball. He has the lateral movement and length to challenge players of various sizes, and his anticipation playing off the ball leads to savvy rotations that can alter passing lanes or shots. Mobley does have room to grow as an outside shooter, though in a small sample size he fared well shooting from deep this past regular season. With that said, Mobley does share the floor with 2 guards who need the ball and another big in Jared Allen, so spacing can be cramped and shot attempts can be limited. Though if Mobley does make a leap offensively, it will be a huge boost to a Cavaliers team looking to take the next step. At number 3 we have Chet Holmgren. While we had to wait a year for Holmgren's NBA debut, it was certainly worth the wait. Offensively, Holmgren can do a bit of everything. His mix of touch and length makes him extremely dangerous around the rim. Then the 22-year-old at 7 feet is capable of putting the ball on the floor and creating his own shot. To top it all off, he's also a dangerous shooter from 3 where he can be utilized out of pick and pop. Like Mobley, Holmgren has all the skills to be a defensive anchor, which he displayed immediately. With his length and timing, he does a great job rotating the block shots. Then the combination of his length and lateral movement helps him alter both shots and driving lanes. The biggest question about Holmgren throughout his career will likely be his frame, though to his credit, he didn't back down from any challenge and managed to play all 82 regular season games. Playing on an ascending Thunder team, Holmgren figures to be a game changer on both ends of the floor for the foreseeable future. Checking in at number 2 is Zion Williamson. Despite being in the public eye for years, Williamson is still only 24 and played some of his best basketball last season. The Pelicans used him more frequently to facilitate offense, and it worked incredibly well, as Williamson was effective creating for himself and others out of pick and roll, where he ranked in the 75th percentile in the action, including passes. Williamson's combination of speed and strength at his size is unmatched, and paired with impressive touch, absolutely dominates around the basket. That was evident this past year as he scored a ridiculous 17.6 points per game in the paint. Williamson has made some strides on the defensive end as well, and with his anticipation can force turnovers and passing lanes. We still don't know if Williamson can really space the floor, as he's attempted less than 100 career threes. Though there's a case that if you can get in the paint as easily as he does, it's not really necessary. However, the primary question will always be his durability. Williamson has played 60 or more games in just 2 seasons. Those are also the only 2 seasons where he's played more than 30 games. There's no telling how healthy Williamson will be for the Pelicans this year, but when he's playing, is certainly worthy of this spot on the list. By now, you probably have a good idea of who number one is going to be. Yup, it's Victor Wembanyama. For someone who received as much hype as Wembanyama did arriving from France, living up to the hype, let alone exceeding it, was a daunting task. Yet, he went ahead and did it anyway. There are times watching Wembanyama where he looks like a cheat code. At 7'4", the 20-year-old with his ridiculous catch radius is an unprecedented lob threat. Then, despite his size, he's able to put the ball on the floor and create offense for himself and others, while looking comfortable doing so. Wembanyama was also an outlier this past year shooting from three, as he was very effective shooting off the dribble, but struggled off the catch. Wembanyama's already the betting favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year next season, and it's easy to see why. For someone that tall, he's extremely coordinated and could stick with players of various sizes off the dribble. Then you factor in his length and timing. Wembanyama is able to alter shots or deflect passes from angles other players wouldn't even imagine trying, and at times his presence alone can limit shot attempts at the rim. Wembanyama, like many young players, can refine his shot selection, and he'll probably emphasize improving his shooting off the catch, though this version of Wembanyama already being this good is an incredibly scary thought. With that, we've reached the end of the list of my top 5 bigs under 25. There were some tough choices, but I'm happy with the end result, and I'm interested to see how this list looks this time next year. If you had any thoughts, I'd love to hear them in the comments, and if you made it this far, don't forget to like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to look back at this series or follow my other posts in the future.